I'm Legend, I play this game professionally, so I can probably hit rank 1. Okay, so this first game is against a Death Knight, and I want to keep Cold Case and Arcane Worm because Cold Case is good against the Plague Death Knight, so you can gain armor, and Arcane Worm is just one of your best opening cards in general.
I see you've brought guests.
Turn 1, pretty easy, just play Arcane Worm and pass, not really much else to do. And turn 2 will probably end up being Infinitize the Maxitude, unless I draw something like Prismatic Elemental, then we have a choice to make. I end up drawing Prismatic Elemental, but I still play Infinitize the Maxitude because, well, it's finale'd. You're only going to get this kind of value in a couple of certain situations. I take Seafloor Gateway here, though, because I know that since it's Blood Death Knight with the 35 HP, I'm going to want to draw through my deck and get the Sif as quickly as possible. They forge a card, which isn't really that big of a deal to me. And another thing about the Seafloor Gateway that I did not mention is that since it draws me a minion, it does play around things like Dirty Rat a little bit better. We play Arcane Bolt and Infinitize the Maxitude, just so we're able to get a Spelled School out of the way for when we get Discovery of Magic. And then I take the Sunwell because into a matchup like Death Knight, or Blood Death Knight specifically, I'm going to need as much value as I can, and the Sunwell will give me quite a few spells. Going into turn 4, I just play Cold Case because, again, it's just a very good tempo play. It's another spell school, which helps with the discovery of magic, obviously. And I just think Cold Case is probably the best turn 4 play this deck has. Their turn 4 is a Death Strike to heal up a little bit, and I realized my mistake with Cold Case on this turn is that since the Death Rattles do damage to him on his turn, he actually made the Death Rattle of the weapon stronger. We end up forging Molten Rune though and killing off the 5/5, so it's not that big of a deal. We get another Holy Spell, which is pretty nice. It means we don't have to play the Sunwell right away to get that Holy synergy, but I don't have any minions to play it on right now. Then they play the Eulogizer. I don't even know how to say that name, and I'm like, what on earth? I mean, people right now are probably experimenting, trying to come up with the best Blood Death Knight build. There are probably some tech slots, but this is definitely not it. It is not a good card. I hover over it for a while, just thinking like, why did you run this? So I play Dispose of Evidence to get rid of a card to give me more space if I end up playing the Sunwell. I end up getting rid of Clear Conscience because since I know I'm going to play the Sunwell, I don't need the Holy Spell right now, and think something like Reverb could be very useful in some situations. I end up not getting any really good spells here of a new school, but I do like them. Like Counterspell can potentially mess them up. They have the coin, but maybe they don't think about it, so I end up playing Counterspell just hoping that they mess up somehow. And then I also kill the 3/3. Just because, obviously, I have the attack, I might as well. Then I go Seafloor Gateway in order to draw a card at the end of my turn. I think about using Pounce, but I'm like, I've already attacked. I might as well just use it on another turn. It's fine. Their turn 6 is play Renathal and then a Death Metal Knight, which I'm not very scared of either of those things, especially considering my mech minion can kill them all right away. I don't really want to because, again, I want to keep minions in my hand to protect against Dirty Rat and Patchwork to protect Sif, but I'm thinking about playing the minion. Off of the Discovery of Magic, I take the Fight Over Me because even though I already have a Shadow spell in Reverberations, I think it's very likely that I'll play Fight Over Me to steal something good. Maybe like a Lorthamar or an Alexandros. I can steal a Patchwork. Who knows? But I can steal something of value to maybe be an extra win condition if the opponent just sets it up well. So they end up playing the Hollow Hound and killing off one of my minions. And as far as I'm concerned, that is the best possible thing that could have happened. Right? So I kill the Hollow Hound and I summon a bunch of 4/5s. Pretty solid stuff. It's not really like super strong. None of them have Divine Shield or Reborn to play around certain removals like Soul Stealer, specifically Reborn plays around that. But it's still fine. They play the Soul Stealer. I bait it out, which is fine. That means if I'm able to develop another board later on, they won't have Soul Stealer, hopefully. I mean, they do run 2, I guess. I play Prismatic Elemental and I want to figure out what I want to take. And again, already have Shadow spells, but Breakdance is pretty sick because if I use Breakdance, if I reverb their 5/5, bounce it back to my hand, not only is their 5/5 dead to one move, one damage, but I have a 5/5 on the board and Soul Stealer in my hand just in case the opponent, you know, summons a big board out of nowhere. Now I actually have a reasonable removal spell and another minion to protect against Patchwork and Dirty Rat. So this board state's pretty good, and with my extra space, I play Infinitize the Maxitude because it's finale'd, and I take Arcane Bolt. One of the things you want to do with this deck a lot of the time is you want to take the 1 mana damage spells, so that way you're able to combo them with Sif better. I end up playing the Pounce, it's not that important. It was actually kind of a misplay, I just wanted to empty space in my hand. But yeah, you want to try to get as many cheap 0 and 1 cost damage spells as possible, so you can play Sif on 6, and then you can also play Reverberate for 3 and have enough mana to play a couple of damage spells. Blood Boil comes down, and again, this is pretty much the best possible situation for me. Every single one of their plays is atrocious. Like, I'm sitting there thinking, this has to physically hurt them making these plays. And that's probably why it's taking so long for them to make these moves. They're thinking, is there anything else I can do right now? I play the Arcane Artificer because I want to empty out my hand a little bit so I can play Volume Up. I'm not going to get a copy of a spell, which is a little bit disappointing, but that's okay. My hand is already pretty full anyway. I decided to play the Arcane Worm just in case, because I'm still thinking at this point, and I'm thinking I could use the Arcane Bolt, kill the 2/2, empty out a space in my hand so I don't overdraw next turn. But before I do that, I'm thinking maybe I play the Prismatic Elemental because maybe I get a more useful spell. But instead, I just Arcane Bolt the 2/2 and go face, and then ping my own minion so Blood Boil doesn't heal at all. I mean, the pinging my own minion was a little bit dramatic for the theatrics, but I still think that it was technically the right play. Playing Prismatic Elemental could have also been good. They play Astalor, gain some armor, and at this point I'm thinking, okay, well, they do have a way of doing a lot of damage to me, even through Solid Alibi. That's the big thing, right? And yes, I know that this is before the Solid Alibi nerfs, but I don't make the rules here. I recorded this beforehand. I didn't know the patch was coming out. But we make some room in our hand by playing the Holy Spell, because I'm thinking to draw cards here, right? I want to try to find more damage, and I also just want to find Sif. So I end up using both Flame Geysers on the on Astalor, which you might think is a misplay. And yes and no. Yes, it's a cheap spell that combos with Sif, but at the same time, I have Infinitized the Maxitude, and I know that since this game is going to go a long time, I have all the time in the world to discover cards, right? We kill off the 1/3. It's not that important, but I just don't want them to do anything with it, like transform something. Then they play their weapon, hit my minion, which is fine. I expected it to die. I tried to protect it with the Holy Spell a little bit, but 9 times out of 10 it's gonna die. And then they play Dirty Rat and pull out my 5/5, which is a bit disappointing. I actually did kind of want to save that minion in case I needed to remove something on the board, excuse me. But it does also empty out my hand a little bit, which makes it a little bit easier to play cards. For example, I can play Volume Up now because I have enough space. Can I play any of the spells? Not really. Also, I realize now that they didn't actually kill the 3/1. I didn't actually process this at the time, and even now, watching it back, I completely forgot that they didn't actually kill the 3/1. They just hit it one time and allowed me to gain a ton more armor, which, again, to be very honest with you, is probably something they can't get away with because they don't have that much, Blood Death Knight doesn't have that much damage. They have Astalor, but they need to use that after I play Solid Alibi, and they only have 4 cards in their hand left at this point. But Blood Death Knight does have ways of still healing and drawing a decent number of cards. Maybe they play Sir Finley, so they're definitely not out of the game yet. Blood Boil is very good for them considering all my minions are very low, and I think that that's probably why they left the Artificer alive. They valued healing themselves up more than me gaining armor, which again I think was kind of a misplay. We draw the mech minion, the Inquisitive Creation, but it's not really that important, and with full mana I play the Prismatic Elemental, hoping for something decent. And I take Immortalized in Stone because even though the Druid spell would have given me a little bit of armor to make sure I don't die, I think putting threats on the board is more important. Like, yes, they can play Soul Stealer here or Corpse Explosion and wipe my board, but this plays around Astalor. This is a lot of damage that'll go in there, and then they top deck Soul Stealer. Quite annoying, to be honest, but at the end of the day, we knew it was something that could happen. I'm still at 47 HP, and they only have 3 cards left in their hand. I'm still feeling fine at this point. At this point, we've finally drawn Sif, which is very good. And I'm a little bit worried, because I'm like, okay, I can't kill them with Sif yet, so basically, I need 1 or 2 turns to set up, so that way, well, I can kill them, right? Because I need to get at least 1 more cheap damage spell, whether it be off of Infinitize the Maxitude or some other thing. Because I don't have enough damage right now. So at this point, I'm just trying to empty my hand. I decide to play the Discovery of Magic, I think, here to try to find something and make Sif even stronger. No, actually, I decided to go Solid Alibi, Infinitize the Maxitude. I forgot that I did that. I thought I played Discovery, because it was correct, and I get offered really, really bad options. I think I take Vengeful Visage just in case they summon the big taunt minion that has lifesteal and hits the lowest HP enemy. And just in case they choose to hit my face. I also play Solid Alibi here, trying to bait out Astalor, right? Because if I know they've played Astalor at this point, I know that a big win condition's gone. I know Solid Alibi will protect me quite a bit. So I play it hoping that they'll think, oh, this is when I should play Astalor and I won't have to worry about it later. But it doesn't play out that way. It's not that big of a deal though. So they end up killing one of my 2/2s with Frost Strike to generate themselves an extra card, and at this point I think they're grasping at straws, really just trying to gain as many resources as possible. Now, at this point in the game, I'm thinking if they have Dirty Rat or Patchwork, I could just lose, so I have to figure out a way to get more minions into my hand. Yes, we have the Artificer, and that's good, but that's not going to be enough minions to make it, like, that's a 50-50. I want to get it down to better odds, and I remember that I have Fight Over Me still in my hand, but then I get Lifebinder's Gift. Now, for those of you who don't know, you can read the ability. It reduces the cost of spells in my hand by 1. This means I can play both Reverberations and Molten Rune on the same turn and win the game next turn. Which is fantastic, by the way. So we play the nature card, which also makes Lady Sif stronger, by the way, because I haven't played a nature spell yet. And with the remaining mana that I have left, I think, okay, I can play Fight Over Me to put more minions into my hand and kill off the not only this is a bad trade, by the way. I should have hit with the 2/2 first. A little bit of a goof. But I guess I decided to kill the Noggling instead of the 2/2 so they don't draw cards. Again, a bit of a goof. I could have had more stuff on the board, but I guess it's fine. Discovering spells is always nice. The animations take quite a long time here. We'll take Glacial Advance, then we'll take Infinitize the Maxitude. We're running out of time here. We're barely able to click the Arcane Bolt, and we have enough damage to win the game. We had enough damage to win the game already, I'll come to realize, because next turn is going to happen. But I don't know, I started panicking. Sometimes when the rope shows up, I panic and I make some of the wrong decisions. And at this point, I'm just hoping for no Patchwork because I only have 3 minions in my hand. It's a 33% chance. It's not great, but they don't play it. I'm able to play Sif next turn with the Reverberations. Vengeful Visage goes off. That literally means nothing. It's pointless. We lose Cold Case, again, not important at all. And we play Sif, Reverberations, Arcane Bolt, and then we play Molten Rune to win the game. Boom. Boom. Actually, you know what? Let's just go Molten Rune, and we also have that. Oh! We did it! We did it, 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 we did it. So now we're against a Control Warrior, which I know it's very similar to Blood Death Knight. It's gonna be a long game. But anyway, we wanna keep the Infinitize the Maxitude and Cold Case because the only way we're gonna get through all that armor is with infinitely generating tons of damage spells. It's the same basic concept against the Blood Death Knight. And now we have Sif in our hand, which I'm happy about and sad about. If they run Dirty Rat or Called to the Stand, things could get very, very difficult very quickly. But it's okay, I don't think that they'll have it, or at least I hope they don't. Nothing I can do to change that. I play Infinitize the Maxitude, and I take Shooting Star because it'll be reduced to 0 mana, and we can get an early Spell School out of the way. Because currently we have basically every single card that requires Spell Schools to be played. Wisdom, Inquisitive Creation, Sif, and we're about to top deck the Elemental Inspiration, which is, again, another Spell School-based card. They don't have anything for me to target though, so I just ping them and pass. It's my most mana efficient option. And then things get weird when they play From the Depths. I'm like, wait a minute, I haven't seen From the Depths in a warrior build yet. I'm not 100% sure what they're doing. What is their plan? Hopefully they don't cheat out Odin 2 turns early, because that would be devastating. And I end up drawing Cosmic Keyboard, and I have 2 choices, either Cold Case or Cosmic Keyboard Infinitize the Maxitude. I choose to go with the Cosmic Keyboard Infinitize the Maxitude because I want, again, that resource generation. The only way I can beat a warrior is with cheap damage spells like Flame Geyser. When I play Sif, being able to play an extra spell that'll do, you know, 5 to 7 damage, maybe even more, for free, is huge. Now they play the Lava Gorger, and I realize, wait a minute, they're going a build that's gonna gain even more armor than usual, so I'm gonna need to figure out how to do more damage. We play Cold Case because it's a great tempo play. It gives me a 4/4 and 2 2/2s. I hit my 2/2 into his 3/3 because I'm like, if he has Blade Storm or whatever, it's gonna kill off my minions anyway. Might as well do some damage, so if he trades into my 2/2, maybe it dies. But instead he chooses to go face and play Fizzle for some reason. I'm getting more and more confused as this game is going on. But you know what? Maybe he knows something I don't. He plays Bellowing Flames and he kills my board, and I'm just hoping each Death Rattle hits their minions 1 time each. And it does, which is perfect. Lines up with Shooting Star so well. And this is when I get a little bit confused on what I want to do, because I know I want to play the 7-drop next turn. And if I do that with the Cosmic Keyboard, then I'm able to get a 7/7 along with 2 or 3, 4, 5 minions at this point too. So I'm thinking, do I play Flame Geyser so I can make the Elemental Inspiration stronger next turn? Or do I, and I can always discover another one with Infinitize the Maxitude, or do I do something else this turn? And I start panicking, so I do something else this turn and play Wisdom of Nortganon, and I end up playing Discovery of Magic to see if I can find anything useful. Takes me a while on this one, but I choose Unleash Fel because Pyroblast is way too slow, and I don't think they're gonna have enough minions for the Altered Chord to actually do anything. Then I play Unleash Fel to get the Spell School out of the way and pass. And at this point, I'm like, okay, if I want to play Elemental Inspiration next turn, I can play Flame Geyser because it's free anyway. They play Odin on turn 6, which is like my worst nightmare. I was like, it's like the only thing I don't want to have happen, having to deal with Odin early. But it's done. So now I have to figure out exactly what I want to do. Am I going to take a ton of damage starting now? Do I need to play Solid Alibi? I choose to not play Solid Alibi. Arcane Artificer with the Cold Case for the armor gain, along with Infinitize the Maxitude, should give me enough to at least survive for a little bit. We end up taking Wisdom of Nortganon here because, again, we want card draw, we want to find more cheap spells and randomly generate more spells from other schools. We don't end up using the Flame Geyser here, and yes, we're going to take 8 damage in the face from Odin, but I wasn't in any position to kill him at this point. And they play a Lava Gorger, which gets them more armor, which is more damage, but they're gonna end up hitting the 1/3 here, and I wanna talk about why that 1/3 is so important. Not only did it gain me 6 armor from playing spells, but it also tanked 6 damage. That is an effective 12 HP swing, which is incredible. At this point, even after playing Odin, they haven't even gotten through my armor yet. I end up playing Prismatic Elemental here because I want to find resources, and looking back, I think Chaotic Consumption might have been better to kill Odin, but I take Harmonic Mood overall because I want to gain armor and survive a little bit more. I don't think it's necessarily a bad play, I just think it could have been something slightly different. I end up playing the Inquisitive Creation, and I'm thinking about playing Harmonic Mood for armor, but then I realize, wait a minute, I can kill off his minions anyway, I don't really need the armor, so let's just play Infinitize the Maxitude and gain resources here. I take Arcane Bolt because, again, getting cheap spells and making them cost 0 is so incredible with Sif. I mean, even right now with a spell damage of 4, that is free 7 damage going face. And they haven't gained that much armor yet this game, so I'm kind of optimistic for now. And then they play the Titan, and I'm reminded why the Warrior Titan is so incredibly awful. I mean, you compare it to something like the Priest one, which deletes 2 minions. This one, oh, it hits into a weak minion randomly and gains some stats every turn. Like, it really just doesn't do that much, and if Odin hadn't already been played, he wouldn't have even gained 5 attack damage to hit me in the face here. I really think the Warrior Titan needs to be buffed. That's just my own personal opinion, but not important. Anyway, we draw the Arcane Worm, and I think I should probably play it because I do kind of need some damage. I'd rather just get the Arcane Bolt in my hand, so that way I have it when I play Sif and not too long. Then I play the Druid card to gain some attack and armor, so I can make space and draw a card. And at this point, I still don't fully know what to do. I have 6 mana up. I know that there are multiple ways I can kill the Titan, so I forge the Molten Rune and think I'll kill it. But then I realize, you know what? I should probably save that for the Sif turn, because I think that would be really, really good. So I probably should just play Solid Alibi here and make sure I don't die, because unless they gain like 16 armor in 1 turn, I should probably be able to kill them. I also get another Flame Geyser for some cheap free damage. And I push face damage. I also know at this point I haven't played a fire spell yet, so as soon as I play the Flame Geyser, Sif is gonna go up to 5 spell damage, and it happens immediately. So Flame Geyser will get that initial spell damage for those of you who didn't know, which means I have plenty of damage in my hand right now. They gain a little bit of armor, but it's not gonna be enough. I mean, even if they play Heavy Plate here, which they don't, but even if they had played Heavy Plate here, I'm pretty sure I would have just had lethal anyway. And again, this Titan minion's going crazy, killing off 1 minion and doing basically nothing. I freak out a little bit with the Solid Alibi because I think maybe I don't have enough damage to win the game here. But as soon as I lose that Solid Alibi, I'm like, okay, well, I think I've got to just commit to Sif now and hope that it's enough. So this should end up doing 7 damage because I hadn't played a fire spell yet. And then I play the Arcane Bolts and I play the Flame Geyser. And I will admit, I thought I was going to need the Flame Geyser to finish him off, but that's because I hadn't taken into consideration the extra spell damage yet. I forgot to count that in. But yeah, overall, we had enough damage.